Hello, in this lesson I'll be going over a brief introduction to Apex. So let's get right into it. Apex is a programming language created by Salesforce that allows you to write custom code on top of the Salesforce platform. It allows you to interact with the Salesforce platform programmatically and do things faster than you would do normally on the UI. It is object-oriented and fairly straightforward to use. To start with, folks that have previous programming experience are able to pick up on it with relative ease. The programming language comes with a syntax similar to Java and is relatively easy to understand and code. Actually, it is written using the Java programming language, so a lot of the constructs carry over. But one thing to understand is that it can only be run on the Salesforce platform. You cannot take Apex language and then take it into some other environment and try to execute it. It essentially runs on the Salesforce platform. It is very well integrated with the Salesforce platform and comes bundled with it. It has access to all the custom and standard objects in Salesforce along with the database. The Apex code executes in a multi-tenant environment. And basically what that means is that Apex, whenever it's run, is run in a shared environment where there are other tenants or Salesforce orgs that share the same pool of resources. It is case insensitive. It is also stored, compiled, and executed on the cloud so that there's less developer overhead. And we will see that in just a bit. So let's jump into some Apex. For our practice exercise, we will write custom Apex code to write the text hello world. In order to write Apex, we will need a development environment, and thankfully Salesforce provides one. In a previous lesson, I went over how we can get a free development environment from Salesforce, and in case you missed it, it is super simple, and I will go over that here. So what exactly is the Salesforce Developer Edition? A Salesforce Developer Edition is basically what they call a sandbox, your own personal copy. It is a free, full-featured copy of Salesforce designed specifically for development and testing purposes. This type of Salesforce environment is used by developers to build and test applications and customizations without affecting a live Salesforce environment. So you can get yours. So basically, in order to sign up or get this, personal development environment that Salesforce provides you, go to this URL. Developer.salesforce.com/signup. Once you go there, you'll be basically provided a form such as this, where you can fill it out, fill in your email address, your role, company name. And if you don't have a company, just put your name, your zip code, select your username for all purposes. For the most part, you can set that to be the same as your email address. Once you, hit agree and sign me up, Salesforce should send you an email, which basically looks like that. And you can, basically says, hey, verify your account, and then you can also sign up with that username. So I already did that earlier, and what I'm going to do now is, head on over and show you. So here's my personal development Salesforce developer org. Using the same username, I'm able to log in. And once I log in, this is basically your dashboard, and what we want to go to is basically the IDE, the Salesforce IDE, the developer console, right? Like this selection right here. So what I normally do is I click on this gear icon, and what I do is I right click on this developer console and I open it in its own tab, because in that way it doesn't open its own window, and sometimes it gets hard to track that, right? You got all these windows that are there. So I'm able to, have these tabs closer by. And, if you look at the developer console, not much to see here. I mean, there's a lot of different options here. And in subsequent tutorials, we'll get through it. But for our purposes, what we want to do is, write some Apex that outputs the text, hello world. So what I'm going to do is hit File, select New. It's going to say, please enter a name for your new Apex class. I'm going to call it My Hello World. And once that happens, I'm going to write some code here. So just follow along right now if you're, let's see. So essentially, I've, as I stated earlier, Apex is an object-oriented language. So here's, it has the concept of blueprints and objects. So here's a blueprint of, called My Hello World. And within that is a method. And in that method is a one-liner that says, hey, write to the debug log, hello world. And what I've done is written that code. I want to have you pay your attention here. If you see this little asterisk, that essentially means, if you see that in any of the tabs, that means that file is not saved. So, I just wrote it, but I didn't really save it. And again, as I stated before, this is all on the Salesforce cloud. So what you want to do is you hit File and you hit Save. And once it saves it, right, the asterisk goes away. So here I have written some Apex for, and what I need to do now is to execute it. So within the same developer console, right, here's, if you go to debug and select this option, open, execute anonymous window. Once you do that, it should open up a pane. And what I want to do here is execute this Apex or call this Apex that does the work. So what I'm doing here is I'm telling Salesforce, hey, go to the following class, which if you see is the same class here, and I'm telling it to call this particular method, say hello world, this one right here. And once I do that, before I hit execute, what I want to do is check mark this open log so that it automatically opens the log after execution. So once I do that, it executes that code. There's a bunch of information, and again, this is just some additional details. We'll get into that later, but for our purposes, just click on debug only, and once you do that, it's gonna show you, hello world basically written up here. So, going over it one more time real quick. Wrote some code. My hello world that has a method called say hello world has a one-liner statement that wants that. We were instructing it to write hello world to the debug log. And once we go to debug, open execute, we execute the file, and we're able to see essentially this code get executed. When it does hello world. So, I wanted to show you this. Here you go. You're on your way to become a great Salesforce developer, and in subsequent tutorials, we'll dig into some details and complete, full circle around it. So, thank you so much, and catch you guys on the next tutorial.